Welcome back, dear viewers, to the studio of Hala Kuwait. Well, right now we have Mr. Ahmad Salmeen, Sustainable and Green Building Engineer, here with us in the studio. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It means a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome, and we're so happy to have you here with us on the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
All right, the pleasure is ours. All right, so let's begin with the very first question of the day, which is, what is the very first thing that we should look for when we try to create a healthier home?
Well, in my point of perspective, there are a lot of aspects we should look into it. But I believe there are two main items that we should look into. One is light, and the second is air. So when the light is balanced and the air circulation inside the spaces are actually good enough for us, we won't feel a bit stuffy, we won't have any circumstances or consequences of poor lighting in spaces.
Mm-hmm. And that goes in terms of lights and air as well.
Yes. So it's not, when we talk also about light, it's not just the natural light or it's the electrical light. It's the balance between both the natural and electric, as well as when it goes to the air, it's not just the mechanical, it's how the space is actually having the air circulation between natural and mechanical.
All right, fair enough. All right, so when it comes to lighting, like how can the wrong lighting in our living rooms actually mess with our, I would say, sleep at night or our mood in general?
So basically, scientifically speaking, we all have something called the circadian rhythm. We do have the biological hours in our bodies, when when the time gets to the night, your body starts to feel ready to go to sleep, as well as in the morning, you should start to have energy in the morning. So when we start to have the brightness in the lighting, let's say from a spotlight or even from the screens, it's affecting our biological hour. So our brain start to think, no, we are still in the night. Still in the morning hours. Yeah. So even the melatonin in our body still to fluctuate in terms of percentages. So that's why a lot of people do recommend not to have screens when you are in bed, because it's actually affecting not just aesthetically, or is just to avoid the screens in the bedroom or any other spaces, is just to let your body and brain understand that it's nighttime, so you should relax.
And will it differ, like if the lights were like, if you will, like white or yellow?
So it is indeed. So if you go and see in most, like, let's say residential units, you will go and see a lot of white spotlight, and it's not just a spotlight, it's even harsh spotlight. All of these lighting are contributing to the way that we behave in spaces. Of course, like a lot of us have been into spaces, like let's say the hotel rooms. Once you you feel like, oh my God, it's a bit relaxing.
Yes.
But when you go and see it at your home, you still like, why I'm not having this experience?
Oh, exactly. Yes.
It's just because of how well and designed the spaces that we have, we experience in the hotel's room, instead of our spaces, because they try to balance all the aspects, from the lighting to even the furniture, the layout of the design. So that's why sometimes the harsh light is not just affecting our mood, but even productivity, and it all has been proven scientifically.
Does it also affect our stress?
It is indeed. So when like, let's say, let's imagine two spaces. One is that you do have access to natural light, or when the other does not have access to natural light and it's all spotlight. Just imagining it, you should start to feel a bit disconnected when it comes to the room with the spotlight. This has been proven to reduce the productivity also in the offices places. It's also the mood itself. So when you start to have a lot of harsh lighting inside the space itself, you start to feel a bit anxious, stressed. Whereas if you go, let's say, in the natural light, when you don't have access or you don't have any spotlight or harsh spotlight, you still feel a bit relaxed and calm.
All right, fair enough. So I guess from what you mentioned, I should be getting those lights where I can switch from yellow to white to maybe to other colors?
Honestly, I don't recommend to use white bright colors, especially in like living room or bedroom. So I always recommend to avoid the spotlights, especially in the bedroom. So people should understand to use alternative lighting, or what we call it layer lighting, where you introduce different lighting sources. Introduce cove light, introduce side lamps, where your space is actually having a balanced lighting. Because I do believe that the spotlight, from its name, is actually to spot something, spot an item that you want to have it, and it's not recommended a lot to have it actually in bedroom or even in a living room.
All right, fair enough. Side lamps are more than enough, if you will. Yeah. All right, so what are like some hidden chemicals in our furniture that we should be worried about in the future?
There is something called VOC, which is a compound, chemical compound that is mostly found in paints. If you have experienced a new room or a space that is freshly being painted, you either gonna smell like the paint itself, or you recognize that there is a smell of the paint, or you don't have the smell. The smell itself, it's what is contributing or has some product called VOC. And inhaling this, the product itself, it has not just a health problems, but also it stays in the spaces. So it has been proven that the VOC actually stays in the room for at least 10 years, where we are inhaling this VOC while we are not actually understanding or acknowledging it. And it's not just contributing to the years or the duration of its being stayed, it actually contributes to headaches. It's actually have like people with asthma like actually get affected of that.
Oh, and how can I acknowledge that you know, once I'm purchasing the furniture, that it contains the chemical or not?
It actually goes to, let's say, the people's research. Let's say there are out in the market some product that has low VOC or even no VOC, but people sometimes they aren't aware that this product, let's say from the beginning, that this furniture or these paints has some health problem or contributing to their health. So they are unaware of that. However, in the market we do have like some product that people should go and look. And also it goes with the misconception that such product might be expensive, but surprisingly speaking, they might be either the same price or even lower.
All right, I'll have to make sure next time I do my research before buying my own furniture, also for you, dear viewers. And now, like, let's talk about greens. Now, I love greens. When it comes to them, like, how does bringing nature indoors, like beyond just adding a plant, if you will, change how you feel at home?
So let's also imagine again, if someone is having, let's say, a bad day, they would either prefer to go alone in the nature. They either go have a walk in the park, they go to across the beach, they go to the desert. When someone is actually connected to the nature outside, sometimes they feel relieved. Now, how we bring nature into our spaces, it comes with the challenge to the designer themselves. So it's choosing the material, choosing the right colors, choosing the texture. Sometimes it also brings you to the nature. Let's say if we want to go and choose some paints or some coatings for the walls, etc., we tend to go and use some colors are called earthy colors that are close to the earth. As well as it's the texture itself. When you go and start touching the walls, or with now the trendy different styles of walls, you still start to see them in a textured way. This brings the nature to us, and it's actually having a positive effect, let's say, to the way that we perceive those spaces. And of course, adding more elements like plants, connecting it with some water features like a water fountain, etc. It brings you. And of course, as we spoke earlier about lighting, here where it comes the natural light that it needs to be balanced, where you can get, as a resident or as an occupier in the space, you actually have the experience and a full, let's say, the well-being space.
That's very nice. I hope everyone like taking notes already because I'm thinking about redecorating my home already. All right, so we're not done yet, but I guess it's time for us to take a very short break for a report, and then we'll be back for more. All right, welcome back, dear viewers, to the studio of Hala Kuwait. We still got here with us Mr. Ahmad Salmeen, Sustainable and Green Building Engineer. All right, so let's continue our interview with the ways that we can arrange our sofas and desks. Like, actually, does it reduce our daily anxiety, like as we mentioned previously?
So, of course. I feel like I will keep saying of course today. So, actually, again, let's imagine when you enter a desk or an office, and you start to see clutter on the desk, like a lot of paper, and another desk that is like actually plain without anything, just a side lamp and a plant. Of course, you should feel like less anxious. You'll feel more productive. So clutter itself has a very bigger contribution to our mental health and how we perceive things inside the spaces. So also the way we arrange the sofas, we arrange the interior space itself. When you allow, let's say, a circulation for you to walk around the space, like a more opening spaces, you should sometimes feel a bit relaxed. So imagine that you have, like, I don't know, 3x3 small room, and you just try to put everything inside where you don't need it. So let's say if you want to use it as a small living room, let's say you start to have two
like sofas?
Two-seat sofas. So you actually don't need a sofa that fits 6-7 people. So when you start to fit a lot of items inside the space, you start to have a bit of anxiety because you kept unnecessary items.
Feel tighter, and I'm not going to feel comfortable, definitely.
And you won't even have the opportunity to walk freely, let's say.
Definitely, yes. So I guess we should go with smaller size furniture for these smaller size rooms, that we feel more space and less anxiety, if you will.
I would say that you have what you feel you need and you don't over-design it. Because some people, even if this space, they only are going to use it for one person or two person, they start sometimes to overly design it. Design the space with what intention it is. If it's a living room, make sure it's a living room. If it's a bedroom, make sure it's a bedroom, and don't start to add unnecessary furniture inside it. For instance, I always argue that there should not be a desk nor a TV inside inside a bedroom, because the intention and the purpose of a bedroom is actually for you to sleep.
Yes.
But a lot of people, a lot of clients, I see they are adding a lot of those items inside the space, the small space, where you start to feel that there is no space for you to move and walk. So this is where the anxiety and it comes.
Well, some people claim that they can't fall asleep unless they're watching a screen. I don't know about that, but probably, I mean, some people have to, watch.
I always try to convince my clients, if let's say, if you do have an apartment, of course you would have a living room, and then you'd have a bedroom. Why would you have two TV units inside both rooms? Go and have a watch the TV before just going to bed. And while you want to go to bed, you need to fall asleep. Read a book, or like even sometimes like use your phone, and then you fall asleep. But having those access, when we were talking about the brightness of the screens and the light, it's actually not letting you sleep and fall asleep very quickly.
Definitely, yes. This is true, actually, yes. And it happens with me all the time, scrolling all night to fall asleep. Yet I discovered that it passed 2 to 3 hours without me feeling it. But see, this is a nice one here for everyone. Now, for those on a tight budget, if you will. Now, what's the cheapest way to make a room feel instantly healthier?
So there are a lot of items I feel people should acknowledge and adapt it in their spaces. One, as we were talking about, is the brightness and the temperature of the light. So of course I would say everyone should go and switch from the bright white colors to more of the warm lights. The second thing is that if someone needs to feel a bit relaxed in the spaces, we should go and find earthy colors, more of a beige, the white colors, and to avoid some dark tones when it comes to walls. And of course, like a lot of people would argue, but adding some plants into those spaces are actually going to make you feel, not just you to feel better, but it's also helping to circulate and absorb all the toxins from the air.
All right, well said. So does sustainable design always have to be expensive, or like can anyone do it?
Okay, so this is actually the misconception a lot of people are having. When it comes to sustainable or the term sustainability, people think it's expensive. Well, in definition, sustainability is what is saying that you design with the purpose and you actually choose better. So choosing better in the spaces, like let's say if we choose the right paint, if we choose the right furniture, and also what we need in the spaces, we are actually not adding cost, we are reducing the cost. Like, as I was talking previously about having unnecessary furniture inside the space, you are actually reducing the cost when it comes for you to purchase. So living in a sustainable space isn't always a luxury, but it's also a necessity for us, but when the right person knows how to do it.
All right, speaking of unnecessary items, now let's get through with this one. Like, what is one item in our homes right now that might be draining our energy without us realizing it? And this is something that I want to get rid of just after this interview.
I would again go and constantly highlight on the lighting. Because it's not just me saying that let's go and switch the lighting or let's change our decor just to go and have an alternative.
Sorry to cut you off, but we're not talking about the ceiling lighting. It could be any lighting.
Any lighting, but I always tend, when it comes to the ceiling lights, I have an issue, honestly, with the spotlight, because a lot of spaces that we have, they are actually, like let's just start with, they are not in the right place. Sometimes if you are sitting and you have a directed spotlight above your head, you actually, it's actually casting a shadow, which is also affecting you, like working on the laptop or even using your phone. The placement of the spotlight has to be studied very well. And having a lot of them distributed just like on a random space, also adding not just we're not going to talk about it's energy saving or it's adding to the energy and electricity. It's actually giving you more than what you need. So all these spot and harsh spotlights are, to me, they are designed for a showroom. You don't need it to have a relaxed afternoon or evening at your living room. You don't need all of these when you are in the bedroom. So not switching them to an alternative color, that would be great, but avoiding them, removing them, let's say, and introducing what I was mentioning about, which is the layer lighting, it's what we need. So lighting.
Well, I wanted to say, like, if we could change just one thing in our bedrooms tonight to feel better tomorrow, what would it be? But now I already know that it is the lights, right?
It's the lights and the other unnecessary screens. So try for once not to use your TV or any other devices that you have, and see how you are actually going to fall asleep very quicker.
All right, so I guess with that said, we have reached the end of this interview, but I really would like you, if you have anything to say to our dear viewers, last words before we conclude, that would be nice.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It means a lot. And as I said, that sustainable spaces shouldn't be always expensive. people should go and learn. And now, as I said, having the sustainable product in the market are everywhere, and it's being very competitive. So having those items or changing the space into more sustainable choices can be easier than what it was before. And there is like technology now. We do have the AI, which helps us actually to build those spaces easier and quicker than before.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Ahmed, for being part of this interview and this episode. And I would like to thank our viewers for tuning in as well. So with that said, that was Mr. Ahmad Salmeen, the Sustainable and Green Building Engineer. And with that said, now it's time for us to take a short break for a report, and we'll be back for more.